I think the apology was for him. It wasn't. So you're going to see it. I can't even think about that with my mind being blown. You're going to see it. It's going to shock you. The whole apology, all of the apologies, all of it. I watched a little bit for the tell-all, like these little clips, and I was like, you did what? You said what? What? It was all for him. It was his apology. He needed to hear it more than anybody. He had his agenda that he needed to do. When he fixes his relationship with his kids, that's when I'll accept the apology.
Hi, besties. Welcome back to my channel. Christine Brown is a bestseller on Amazon. She's got the #1 memoir, and she spoke to Access Hollywood yesterday in an in-depth interview about her book. I actually really enjoyed this interview. I loved the woman that gave the interview. She asked great questions, and I found Christine to be incredibly candid and straightforward. In the interview, it was very apparent to me just how naive Christine was during the process of her marriage with Cody, along with naive to manipulation, naive to what it was like to deal with someone like Cody, who is a narcissist, and about the finances. And during the interview, one aspect that was discussed was what was coming up this next season, which starts in a couple weeks. And the trailer is dealing with Cody possibly bringing in a new wife and then Cody having this apology tour. Now, if you read Christine's book, you learn that a lot of what Kody and Robyn are doing on the show is reputation management, or it's trying to do damage to control to improve Cody's image. Cody is trying everything that he can to appear as though he's not the piece of turd that he is. And he's trying to give fake apologies. He's, trying to look like the great dad. And the reason why she feels he actually started demanding loyalty by everyone was due to the fact that people in the family started speaking about him in a negative way. Until Christine had left, really, most of the chatter on the show was Cody's the best. We adore him. He's the king. He's our leader. We love him. There was never any unrest about Cody's a deadbeat dad. Cody's not involved with the kids. Cody's not. I mean, some of that was brought up in therapy, but they had like their main talking points to protect Cody. And the Cloak of Charity wasn't really about Cody being a patriarch, but Cody wanting to control his image. That's how she made it seem for the in there, and that he just started controlling everyone because he wanted to control how the world viewed him. He hated the feedback. Well, she discussed the apology that's coming up this season, and she discussed the possibility of Cody and Robyn taking a fifth wife, which she can't understand. But she did say that Cody and his apologies are not for the people that he's giving them to. It's all about him. She mentions that he has an agenda. And what is obvious to me with Christine is that on the one hand, she's still like learning about this outside world, still trying to figure out and unravel her cult upbringing and what she experienced. And then at the same time, she has to deal with Cody, who's a narcissist, and then she has to deal with the show and the lies that he tells on the show. And she's not sure if any of this is real. And then that had me thinking, when you're with a man like Cody and you're doing a show like this and you're faking it on camera, do you get confused about what's real and what's fake? She's mostly had negative things to say about Cody when it comes to the apology because she thought it was just words. Check this out.
Like, take care of your kids, reach out to your kids, call them, spend time with them, and work on that relationship. And then at that point, we can talk apology. That's an action that should happen, not just words. Words don't mean a thing. My kids are heartbroken. You know, even the ones that talk about how they've moved on, they've accepted that this is their dad and this is what does, and they've accepted it and they've moved on. So that I wish that could be fixed.
Cody's apologies are almost always empty, right? And it doesn't appear that anything really has changed. And in her book, she actually, in the epilogue, says that Kody and Robyn cut off McKelty. Basically, just they severed ties with her. So at this point, he has no relationship with any of her kids, really. I mean, McKelty was someone that Robyn had taken in, and McKelty helped with raising her kids. Christine also said that Robyn never used the sister wives for childcare, but instead would use her sisters or McKelty to help raise her kids or care for her kids. So I think there was something. Obviously, we know what happened is McKelty said something happened at the funeral. I don't know what it was, but I think that McKelty having a Patreon and even just saying anything is probably beyond what Kody would be comfortable with, because I'm sure in the mind of McKelty or of Kody, like anyone that says anything that's negative about him, even if it's the truth, is disparaging him and not helping him. And Kody doesn't like to hear the truth if it hurts his image. He's such a narc. But she does say in the epilogue that she's, heartbroken for her kids. And she says here that she's heartbroken for her kids. Yesterday, I did a video to discuss Christine's frustration with Kody and Robyn to tie into this concept of her. She's still not at a place where she can recognize that polygamy is truly the villain here, because without polygamy, this whole construct of this family wouldn't have existed, and the faith itself, which created the system. And some of you thought that I was trashing Christine or not being sensitive to her. I'm incredibly sensitive to her. I recognize that Christine is just coming out of a cult. She is left 4 years ago. I recognize that Christine has spent her entire life in a system that subjugates women and tells them that all they need to do is be happy, keep sweet, obey their priesthood authority, never question anything. Her book does go into a lot of her discussing unraveling some of these very toxic beliefs that she was taught, like endure to the end and having to suffer, and the more that you suffer, the more that God loves you. She's incredibly candid about how in their church they're taught that the women are the ones that have to do all of the work to work through their jealousies and all of the issues that come with polygamy, and they're told that this will make them a better person. And so making themselves better people is trying to be not jealous, trying to be a better wife, trying to keep sweet. That's the whole goal. And she said she didn't want that. She wanted a partner. She wanted Kody to be held accountable. She wanted Kody to be as equally responsible for his behavior as her. She wanted a partnership. She wanted to be equal, truly. And she couldn't have that in polygamy. She writes all of that in her book, but she stopped short of saying that polygamy is the problem. And Christine, in her healing and her deconstruction, it'll take her a long time to get to that point, because she has loved ones that are still in this cult. And if she goes against the church, she can get cut off. But in my comments yesterday, some of you were saying that Christine simply speaking negatively about the church and she's going to protect polygamy because then she'll get cut off. That's not exactly true. She will get cut off for negatively speaking about the leaders, and she did. She speaks very negatively about the leaders in this book, and she speaks very negatively about what they're doing that she finds offensive and wrong, and the strict rules that that they enforced underneath their systems, and her disagreements with that. That will get her not welcome at the church. If you start speaking about the priesthood and you start disparaging them and saying that you don't respect them, that's where you get cut off from the church. I think she's apprehensive to say that polygamy is the problem because she has sisters and siblings that are in polygamy. She has brothers. Her dad is still a part of the church, though he's not a polygamist. And I don't know how active he is in the church. But honestly, I don't think they're her dad would care either way, because he has plenty of children that are out of the church, that are outspoken about them not agreeing with it, that he still has relationships with. When Christine says that she has a good relationship with her father, I believe it, because I've spoken to multiple people that know her dad, and they've all said that he's a good guy. He's nothing like Cody. He's not narcissistic. He's not abusive. He is a decent guy that was just trying to do what he thought was right with his faith. And he got a lot of pressure from his dad, who was the leader, to come back to the faith. And not every single person that's in the polygamous system is a bad person, right? Not all men are bad just because they're born into this faith or they become polygamous husbands. They're following their indoctrination. It's the system where everything becomes abusive, and the teachings of it that are abusive. And so when she can get to that point where she can recognize, you know what, polygamy as a whole is what's causing so many of these problems, that's going to be like another wake up call for her. Not just it's Cody's fault and I don't agree with my faith. It's the polygamy itself is. And it takes people a long time to get there. It'll take her years. Christine is very naive and she is still learning the ways of this world. So I'm not criticizing her in saying she's a liar or she's not, you know, looking at the big picture. It's that she can't yet. She's not there. And someone also left a comment and said I left a critical review on her book. And I did. I wasn't a huge fan of the book, but that doesn't mean I don't support Christine in that she's left the church. And it's not to say that I don't support her in that she's starting to use her voice to speak out. I do. I support anyone that leaves a system like this. But I also found the book to be rather repetitive based on what we've already heard on the show. And then I've also found it just very superficial. There wasn't a lot of depth. And maybe she just doesn't have the capacity to go there yet. Maybe it's the indoctrination still where she had to keep everything surface level. Some of you are going to love it because I know so much about polygamy and I've spent so much time dealing with survivors and victims that have left. It wasn't my favorite book, but that doesn't mean I hate Christine. Now, when it comes to Kody and Robyn taking another wife, this is what Christine said.
I wish they'd just be happy in monogamy.
Yeah.
I love monogamy, and I know he does too. So I don't know what the deal is, why they even talk about it. I don't know. I don't know why he's not just embracing life and loving it. I don't understand that at all. That was completely shocking to me too. I'm like,
it was.
wait, now what is happening? I'm like, that can't be real. None of that can be real. I'm sure that's not real.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to watch the episode too.
So Christine said that it was a complete surprise to her that Kody and Robyn were talking about adding another wife, because even the woman that interviewed Christine was like, well, he has already said that he doesn't want to do that and he likes monogamy. And Christine said the same thing. She said says he likes monogamy. I don't know why he would want to do this. And on tell-alls, Kody has said things like, I don't think it would be fair to bring in another wife because I'm in love with Robyn. But then Kody also admits that he lies and says things off the cuff. What I know is that I think it was like 2 years ago, around the time that Mary got a release, and maybe not long, it was after Christine had left, and it was around the same time that Janelle was leaving, that someone that is related to one of the brethren, okay, said that Kody and Robyn had met with the brethren, the specific brethren. They went to dinner, and that Kody was trying to figure out how he and Robyn could get back in good standing with the church. And part of that was because Robyn wanted to go back to church, and that Robyn, because of the marriage, her agreement with Kody was that they would be polygamists and that she would be a plural wife. And she still believed in this faith. Even if to all of us out here, we don't believe that she believes it, that's what was relayed to the brethren, to the council member, about why they wanted to go back. This was something that Robyn really believes. She wants to be in good standing with the church. All of her family is there. She really thinks that if Kody got back into the church, he would stop being such a-hole. She felt that Kody needed to have, the leaders around him to guide him, even though the leaders are total perverts and disgusting and controlling and gross, in my opinion. But the other issue was that Cody was wondering if he could somehow find a way to get a branch of the church in Arizona, and if they could try to do it in Flagstaff, and if he could get his own church down there. And that was something that they were not down with yet. Like, they were like, no way. And then Cody doesn't have enough followers or people that would join a church that he starts. And it was relayed to me by the person related to the brother in person, and it wasn't the prophet. They didn't meet with the prophet. It was someone on the council, that this council member was not really super interested in Cody coming back. They feel like Cody abandoned all of his wives. They feel like Cody's a hypocrite and he's done way too much on the outside that's like outside of their rules, and that he's very narcissistic, and that some of the leaders are also narcissistic, and so they butt heads with Cody. They just weren't certain that it was like real, that he really wanted to come back. And then the other part that was relayed to me was that the person said that the feeling is that Cody, because Robyn wants to be in polygamy, wants Cody to find another woman and another wife through the church. And you can't get another woman from the church if you're not in good standing. And in the book, Christine talks about how you have to go to get recommends, and you have to go through these classes, and you have to make sure that you're in good standing with the church, with tithing, and you're, making sure that you're following the rules. And none of them have recommends anymore with the church. And so they can't just like go to a meeting. They can't go to activities. They can't go to dances right now, which is how a lot of the guys meet the women in the church. And that was a couple years ago. So Cody was well aware a couple years ago that Robyn and his marriage was contingent on them being in a polygamous family. And even though we don't understand why Robyn wants it, because she's a terrible sister wife and she's a terrible, sharing, she doesn't like to share. It's what she believes. And I don't know. I don't know if it's real either, because I also agree with Christine that it could be fake because he needs a storyline for the show. And the reason why she felt like he carried them and strung them on along for so many years was because he needed a show. He didn't want to be a polygamist, but he wanted to still make money off of it and have his greed, and he wanted the fame and the money from it, but he didn't want to actually be a polygamist. So that's why I think she says, I don't know if it's real or not, because it could be fake, because he knows that if he wants to keep the show going, he needs to add new wives. But I think that he would be a terrible husband for any woman that comes in, and he's already had 3 wives leave. But if he went back to the church, there's plenty of guys that lose wives that get new wives. He just would have to repent and, be really sorry. And I don't know that he could be really sorry. And that could be part of the apology tour too, is if he's trying to get back in good standing with the church, he would need to go on apology a tour and try to like make things right with his family. So yeah, is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. But what Christine did slam is his fake apology, and not sure if he actually wants another wife and why he can't just be happy. I don't think Cody wants to be a monogamist. If Cody was a monogamist, he would just cheat on his wife all the time. So I think it just gives him the excuse to cheat. So what are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bestie.